The marble lobby fell silent as bank executives laughed at the woman in running clothes and a baseball cap. Vanessa Mitchell stood calmly as they denied her ownership claim. "This bank isn't for sale to someone like you," the manager sneered with contempt. What they didn't know was that Vanessa's husband had already purchased it. And when he walked through those doors, their laughter would turn to shock. The morning sun cast long shadows across the quiet streets of Oak Ridge as Vanessa Mitchell maintained her steady jogging pace. At 55, she still had the energy of someone decades younger, her silver blonde hair pulled back in a simple ponytail beneath her navy cap. The familiar weight of her water bottle bounced against her hip as she rounded the corner toward Miller Park. This daily ritual had been her sanctuary for years, long before she met Richard, long before their lives had changed so dramatically. To the neighbors who waved as she passed, she was just that nice Mitchell woman who volunteered at the library and always remembered birthdays. Her breathing steady, Vanessa slowed as she approached the community bulletin board at the park entrance. A bright yellow notice caught her eye, forcing her to stop completely. Oak Ridge Community Bank, closure notice. She pulled the paper closer, scanning the details with growing concern. 30 days? They're giving everyone just 30 days, she muttered, reading further about the acquisition by National Financial Group, a corporate giant known for shuttering local branches and eliminating personalized services. Vanessa thought about Mrs. Henderson, who at 87 still walked to the bank every Friday to deposit her small pension check, and the loan officer who had helped countless local businesses get their start. This bank wasn't just a building, it was the financial heartbeat of Oak Ridge. Her morning run forgotten, Vanessa pulled out her phone and dialed. "Richard, it's me. Are you seeing this notice about Oak Ridge Community Bank?" She listened, her expression shifting from concern to thoughtful determination. "I know you're in meetings all day, but this is important. Remember what we discussed last month?" Another pause. "Exactly. I'm going to head over there now and see what's really happening. No need to change your schedule. I'll handle the preliminary conversation." Hanging up, Vanessa checked her watch. The bank would be opening in 20 minutes. She hadn't planned on visiting a financial institution in her running clothes, but this couldn't wait. Some things were more important than appearances. As she jogged toward the bank, memories flooded back of her own struggles before meeting Richard. The skeptical loan officers who wouldn't give her small bookstore a chance. The financial advisor who spoke to her like she was a child. The countless times she'd been dismissed because she didn't fit someone's image of success. That had been 15 years ago. Before her bookstore had grown into a regional chain, before she'd met Richard Mitchell at a publishing conference, before their partnership, both romantic and professional, had transformed their lives. But Vanessa had never forgotten what it felt like to be judged based on appearances. It was why, despite their considerable wealth, she still drove her old sedan, still shopped at the local farmer's market, still kept her morning runs through the neighborhood. It wasn't an act, it was who she was. Arriving at the bank's glass doors, Vanessa took a moment to catch her breath. Through the windows, she could see the staff setting up for the day. Men and women in pressed suits arranging paperwork and preparing teller stations. They looked efficient, professional, and completely unaware that their corporate overseers were planning to eliminate their jobs within the month. Vanessa straightened her shoulders. She wasn't just here as Richard Mitchell's wife. She was here as someone who understood the value of community, of personal connection, of treating people with dignity, regardless of their account balance. The bank manager unlocked the door, eyeing Vanessa's athletic attire with barely disguised disapproval. With a deep breath, she stepped inside. The bank's interior was all polished marble and mahogany, designed to evoke a sense of tradition and stability. As Vanessa entered, the hushed conversations and clicking keyboards momentarily paused. Several employees glanced up, their expressions ranging from curiosity to dismissal when they saw her casual outfit. "Can I help you?" asked a young receptionist, her tone indicating she doubted she could. "Yes, I'd like to speak with the manager regarding the closure notice," Vanessa said, her voice confident despite being dressed in running clothes among suits and ties. The receptionist's professionally pleasant smile didn't reach her eyes. "Do you have an appointment?" "No, but this is rather urgent." "I see." The word dripped with skepticism. "May I ask what this is concerning specifically?" Vanessa considered her response carefully. "It's about a potential alternative to the planned closure." This caught the receptionist's attention. She picked up her phone, whispering something Vanessa couldn't quite catch. After a brief conversation, she gestured toward a waiting area. "Ms. Kensington will be with you shortly. You can take a seat over there." Vanessa nodded her thanks and sat down, noticing how the leather chair seemed to emphasize her out-of-place attire. She caught snippets of whispered comments from nearby employees. Probably wants to complain about her mortgage. Like she could do anything about the closure? Shouldn't she be at the gym instead? She ignored them, focusing instead on the framed photographs lining the walls, images of Oak Ridge through the decades, the bank prominently featured in many community celebrations. After 15 minutes, longer than necessary, Vanessa suspected, a tall blonde woman in an immaculate gray suit approached. Her smile was practiced, her handshake brief. "I'm Patricia Kensington, branch manager. I understand you have questions about our transition?" She led Vanessa toward her office, clearly intending to contain whatever complaint this inappropriately dressed woman might have. "Actually," Vanessa replied, "I'm here to discuss a potential purchase." Patricia froze mid-stride, turning slowly. "Purchase?" "Yes, of the bank." The manager's laugh was instant and dismissive. "Ma'am, banks aren't like grocery stores. You can't just walk in and buy them, especially not—" Her eyes flicked over Vanessa's running clothes. "Especially not someone like me?" Vanessa finished for her, voice level. Patricia's expression shifted to the practiced customer service. "What I mean is, acquisitions are handled at the corporate level through proper channels. Currently, National Financial Group has already begun the purchase process." "I'm aware," Vanessa said, "but their offer isn't finalized, and I believe there's still an opportunity for alternative arrangements that would better serve this community." By now, their conversation had drawn attention. Several employees had positioned themselves within earshot, barely disguising their interest. Patricia's smile tightened. "Perhaps you'd like to speak with one of our financial advisors about investment opportunities more suitable for your situation." "That won't be necessary. I'd like to discuss making an offer for the entirety of Oak Ridge Community Bank." A snicker came from somewhere behind them. Patricia didn't bother hiding her amusement now. "Ms. Mitchell, Vanessa Mitchell. Ms. Mitchell, banking acquisitions involve millions of dollars, complex regulations, and financial backing that, frankly—" She gestured vaguely at Vanessa's appearance. "You seem to be making assumptions about my financial capacity based on my current attire," Vanessa observed calmly. Patricia's smile was condescending. "Look, I appreciate community spirit, but this isn't a bake sale fundraiser. This is a multi-million-dollar financial institution." More employees had gathered now, some openly smirking. "Perhaps if you made an appointment and returned with your financial advisor, and in more appropriate attire, we could at least hear your concerns about the closure." Vanessa noticed how the staff exchanged glances, some rolling their eyes. She maintained her composure, remembering why she was here. This wasn't about her pride, it was about the community that depended on this bank. "I don't need to make an appointment," Vanessa said calmly. "And I don't need a financial advisor. What I need is for you to take my offer seriously." Patricia's professional veneer cracked slightly, replaced by visible irritation. She gestured to her office. "Fine, we can discuss this privately." Once inside the glass-walled office, Patricia sat behind her large desk, putting physical distance between herself and this unusual visitor. She didn't offer Vanessa a seat. "Ms. Mitchell, I'm trying to be patient, but we're very busy with the transition. National Financial Group is paying $12 million for this branch. Do you have that kind of capital available?" "I believe the branch is worth more, considering its community impact," Vanessa replied. "I'm prepared to offer $15 million. Patricia's eyebrows shot up. Then her face settled into an expression of pity mixed with amusement. She turned slightly, catching the eye of a colleague through the glass wall, and gave a small eye roll. "And how exactly would you finance this purchase? A community fundraiser? A GoFundMe campaign?" Her voice dripped with sarcasm. Outside the office, more staff had gathered, sensing entertainment. An executive leaned against a nearby desk, watching the scene unfold with undisguised amusement. "My husband and I have the necessary funds," Vanessa stated simply. This triggered an actual laugh from Patricia. "Your husband? And what does he do, exactly?" "He's in finance." "Finance," Patricia repeated, drawing out the word. "Like a bank teller? Or perhaps he sells insurance from your garage?" A wave of snickers spread through the growing audience outside. Someone whispered loudly enough to be heard, "Maybe he drives an armored car." Vanessa remained poised, though her jaw tightened slightly. "Actually, he—" "Let me stop you there," Patricia interrupted, standing up. "This has gone far enough. I've humored you because we value all community members, even the—" She paused, searching for a word. "Eccentric ones, but I have actual business to attend to." She opened her office door, a clear dismissal. "Jerry," she called to a security guard, "please escort Ms. Mitchell out. She was just leaving." The employees outside didn't even try to hide their amusement now. One man in an expensive suit leaned toward a colleague and stage whispered, "Think she knows the difference between $1 million and $1 billion?" As Vanessa stood her ground, Patricia's smile became cold. "Perhaps next time wear something more appropriate if you want to be taken seriously in a financial institution." The security guard approached reluctantly, clearly uncomfortable. "Ma'am, if you could please come with me." Vanessa looked around at the smirking faces, the judgment, the dismissal. She'd experienced this before, but it never stopped stinging. Still, she knew what came next. "Before I leave," Vanessa said, her voice carrying across the now silent lobby, "I'd like to know who I can contact at your corporate headquarters regarding this matter." Patricia sighed dramatically. "If you insist on pursuing this fantasy, you can contact the Chief Acquisitions Officer at National Financial Group, though I assure you, they have even less time for this sort of thing than I do." A man in an expensive charcoal suit stepped forward, his gold cufflinks catching the light. "I'm James Wilson, Regional Director. What seems to be the problem here?" "There's no problem," Patricia replied quickly. "Ms. Mitchell was just leaving. She seems to think she can purchase our bank." James's eyebrows shot up as he took in Vanessa's appearance. His lips curved into an amused smile. "Is that so?" "Yes," Vanessa replied simply. "I believe this branch serves a vital function in the community, and I'd prefer to see it remain independent rather than absorbed by a corporation that will likely close it within a year." James crossed his arms, visibly entertained. "And you have, what, $15 million just sitting around to make that happen?" "Actually, yes." A burst of laughter erupted from the gathered employees. Someone in the back called out, "Check her running shoes. Maybe there's cash in the soles." James held up a hand to quiet the laughter, though his own smile remained. "Look, Ms. Mitchell, I appreciate community spirit, really I do. But banking is a serious business. We're not selling lemonade stands here." "I'm quite aware of how banking works," Vanessa replied. "Are you? Because showing up in," he gestured at her outfit, "workout clothes, with no appointment, no financial records, no backing, suggests otherwise." Patricia stepped closer to James, clearly enjoying having an ally. "I've offered to schedule a proper appointment, but she insists on being difficult." "She doesn't belong here," someone called from the back, triggering more laughter that quickly died when James shot a disapproving look in that direction. "That's enough," he said, though his own expression betrayed his amusement. Turning back to Vanessa, he continued, "Ms. Mitchell, while we appreciate your enthusiasm, this matter is well beyond your means. The sale to National Financial is nearly complete." "Nearly, but not quite," Vanessa noted. James sighed. "Jerry, please escort Ms. Mitchell out. And," he added with a pointed look at Vanessa, "perhaps consider a financial literacy course at the community college. They're quite affordable." As the security guard approached again, the front doors of the bank swung open. The laughter died instantly as a tall, distinguished man in a perfectly tailored suit entered. His commanding presence drew every eye in the room. "I hope I'm not interrupting," Richard Mitchell said, his deep voice filling the sudden silence. Vanessa's expression remained calm, though her eyes held a hint of warmth as she turned to her husband. "Richard, you didn't need to come." "Meetings ended early," he replied casually, crossing the lobby with measured steps. His Italian leather shoes clicked against the marble floor as employees unconsciously stepped back, creating a path. Richard Mitchell's reputation preceded him. Even in a bank full of finance professionals, his name carried weight. Forbes had recently listed him as the 28th wealthiest man in America, with a financial empire spanning 3 continents. James Wilson's face underwent a remarkable transformation, from smugly confident to slack-jawed recognition in the span of seconds. "Mr. Mitchell," he stammered, extending his hand. This is an unexpected honor. Richard ignored the outstretched hand, his gaze locked on Patricia. I understand you've been speaking with my wife about acquiring this institution. Patricia's complexion had turned ashen. Your wife? Her eyes darted between Vanessa in her running clothes and Richard in his bespoke suit, struggling to reconcile the two. Yes, Richard replied, his voice pleasant but firm. Vanessa mentioned the community's concerns about the pending sale. We thought we might offer an alternative. James attempted to recover, straightening his tie nervously. Mr. Mitchell, had we known, that is, if Ms. Mitchell had mentioned her connection to you, would it have changed how you treated her? Richard asked, his tone making it clear there was only one acceptable answer. Patricia stepped forward, her customer service smile back in place, though noticeably strained. There seems to have been a misunderstanding. We certainly meant no disrespect. Of course not, Vanessa said, a hint of irony in her voice. You only suggested I take a financial literacy course and had security ready to escort me out. The lobby had grown so quiet you could hear the soft hum of the air conditioning. The employees who had been laughing moments before now studied the floor, the ceiling, anywhere but at the Mitchells. Richard removed a business card from his jacket pocket, handing it to James. My legal team will be in touch. I believe Vanessa mentioned an offer of $15 million. James nodded quickly, accepting the card as if it were made of gold. Make it $14 million, Richard continued, glancing around the lobby. The $1 million discount seems fair, considering the hospitality my wife received. Patricia's eyes widened in alarm. Mr. Mitchell, please, if we could start over. I think we're well past that point, Ms. Kensington, Richard replied. Though I'm curious, what's your policy on addressing customers based on their appearance? Is that something National Financial Group endorses in its training materials? No one answered. No one dared. Richard turned to Vanessa, offering his arm. Shall we, dear? Actually, Vanessa said, placing her hand gently on Richard's arm, but keeping her eyes on the bank employees. I'd like a moment to clarify something. Richard nodded, recognizing the look in his wife's eyes. It was the same expression she'd had 15 years ago when they'd first met. Determined, principled, unwavering. Vanessa addressed the silent room. My husband and I could purchase this bank 10 times over without noticing the expense. But that's not why I came here today. She took a step forward, her running shoes squeaking slightly on the polished floor. The sound seemed almost comically out of place in the tense atmosphere. I came because Mrs. Henderson, who's banked here for 63 years, can't drive to the next town when you close this branch. I came because Sam Torres got the loan to start his restaurant here when larger banks turned him away. I came because communities need institutions that see people as more than just numbers. Her gaze swept across the employees, lingering briefly on those who had been most vocal in their mockery. They couldn't meet her eyes. The way you treated me today, making assumptions based on my clothes, my appearance, my perceived worth, is exactly why financial institutions fail the people they claim to serve. Patricia finally found her voice. Mrs. Mitchell, please understand, customer service is our highest priority. Today was an unfortunate aberration. No, Vanessa interrupted gently. Today was revealing. Until you thought I was connected to wealth, I wasn't worth basic respect. James Wilson stepped forward, desperation evident in his expression. Perhaps we could discuss this in a more private setting. I'm sure we can come to an arrangement that satisfies everyone. Richard checked his watch. Our lawyers will contact you this afternoon. I suggest you prepare your board for a change in ownership. As they turned to leave, a voice called out from behind the teller counter. Mrs. Mitchell? A middle-aged woman with kind eyes stepped forward. I'm Nancy Winters. I've been with this bank for 22 years. She hesitated, then continued. Not all of us. Many of us do care about our customers, regardless of... Vanessa offered a genuine smile. I believe you, Ms. Winters, and that's precisely why this bank is worth saving. As they walked toward the exit, the sea of employees parted before them. The silence was deafening, broken only by Richard's parting words, delivered without turning back. When the acquisition is complete, we'll be reviewing staffing. I suggest everyone here take this opportunity to reflect on how they represent this institution. The glass doors closed behind them with a soft thud, leaving the bank in stunned silence. Outside, Vanessa squeezed her husband's hand. So much for my peaceful morning run. Richard chuckled. You never could resist righting a wrong. Sometimes the most powerful lessons come from unexpected teachers. If this story touched you, remember that dignity isn't determined by dress codes or bank accounts. Have you ever been misjudged based on appearances? Share your experience in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories that remind us all. Respect should never be conditional. Where are you watching from today? Let us know.